This is 99% craps.
Hearts 10, hearts 10. Here's the number.
I'll take the full odds on the 10, 200 on the hard way. The limit on all the numbers, 250 on the 11. Thank you very much.
Say, you played this game before.
Just once.
Welcome to the Red Eye Gamblers podcast. High above the second largest city, west of the Mississippi. Two chronic craps players, talking craps, playing craps, thinking craps. This is 99% craps.
Coming up on 99% Craps, I made it to a grand opening of a new casino, was in line with thousands for the doors to open, played craps and rolled dice on a virgin table, and forgot about a major sports bar opening up about 8 weeks ago. Never thought I'd be one of the first to see a brand new casino. Thank God it was in Lake Charles, 2 hours from my home. Wednesday, December 28th, 2022, episode 56. The Red Eye Gamblers present 99% Craps. Well, good afternoon, crap shooters. It is great to be with you again in the great state of Louisiana. Heading out to Lake Charles to do a little bit of gambling and also to experience the grand opening of the Horseshoe Casino, which is the old Isle of Capri out here. So grand opening is tomorrow on Monday, December 12th. I'm gonna see if I can witness the ribbon cutting, which they're doing at noon, and then see if I can get on their tables and be one of the first people to play on what I'm assuming is an ice cold table that's never been run before. Shotgun and I were talking about this just a little bit, and you know, these are going to be brand new tables. They're not going to be refurbished tables coming from another casino. They're going to be, I think, you know, brand new, custom built for this location. So they'll have never been played on before. They'll have 0 hours of dice play, which is very, very interesting. I don't know that I've ever thought about it like that. You know, the roll to win tables, you know, when they showed up, they were brand new. You know, so those kind of would be the only closest thing I've ever been to. But otherwise, I mean, you know, they're refelting things in Vegas or at older casinos, but you're not really getting a new tables. And then even when you bring in a new table to an old casino, it's usually from a different part of the casino, or it's from a different sister casino. So I don't know, it'll be just really interesting to see that everything is going to be pure like virgin snow. You know, joking about you know, being, you know, using the urinals for the first time, using everything for the first time. So it'll just be interesting. But yeah, so that's going to be tomorrow. So leaving town on a Sunday, heading out for Sunday night, Monday night, and then coming back on Tuesday. Was able to take a day and a half off from work, and I've got the free stay Sunday through Thursday. So staying at L'Auberge. Actually had the option to stay at Golden Nugget, but didn't worry about it. I'm just more comfortable checking in and checking out of L'Auberge. I've been doing that, you know, for such a long time that didn't necessarily need to be going over the Golden Nugget. The other thing is, I know that I'm going to be playing at the roll to win tables, and they don't have roll to win tables over at Golden Nugget. So, you know, so the other thing I'm curious about is, so I'll go into square footages on my way back. I wasn't able to look it up, but you know, with my last trip going out to Tampa to the Seminole Hard Rock Casino, you know, and talking about them being the 5th largest casino, this new casino, the Horseshoe, that's going to open up, it's actually going to be it's a land-based casino. So they did get rid of the boat. And they say that they're going to have 60,000 square feet of space. Now, I need to figure out if that's gaming space plus their rooms and hospitality and all that, or which is what I kind of figured is it's going to be 60,000 total, because I think that's what everybody does. They throw in all those totals to talk about how big they are. They don't just talk about the gaming space. So 60,000 square feet, and then they're talking about having 40 table games plus baccarat pit, plus a World Series of poker room, and then 850 slot machines. So I guess I'll walk around and try to figure out if that is just as big or similar or bigger than the other two casinos in the same area. I'm real excited that now there's going to be back to 3 options within basically 2 miles of each other. It's you can walk between the Golden Nugget and La Berge, and then you'll just have to take a 5-minute drive to get over to La Berge, or to the Horseshoe. I'm gonna have to get used to calling it Horseshoe. Anyway, that's the exciting news, is going for a grand opening. There would have been no possibility of me ever going to any sort of grand opening in Vegas. So as soon as I heard that they were going to do a grand opening in Lake Charles, I was like, oh, well, I guess I got to do it. So unfortunately, Shotgun isn't able to make it. He's got his work is getting real busy. The holiday season is kind of big for him, and he's in the hospitality business. So he's not going to be able to make it. So I will give him updates, and he's going to have to listen to the podcast to figure out more. So, but yeah, no, I've got a few vacation days I got to use or lose before the end of the year. So I was like, all right, let's go on a Monday, Tuesday, and sure enough, that's what I'm doing. So, showing up with a small bankroll. I don't really have the funds to be doing stuff. Life happens. I had to get new tires, had to do some other things, and so that bankroll that I had, is gone. And so basically starting over, and I don't really have much to start with. So I think I'm going to basically have about $600 to play with, and going to be red chipping it. It's funny, I was thinking about, basically I'm being a red chip player, but I'm only going to be playing on the electronic table, and well, the electronic table doesn't have chips. So are you a red chip player anymore? Because you're not playing with red chips. So I'm just a digital craps player now, I guess, and going to be taking advantage of probably the last strategy that I had, which was that helped me get out of my hole when I was in the Hard Rock, which was basically playing on the don't, and then playing sisters on the positive. And so I think I'm going to go with $25 don't, and then $12 6 and 8, or $20 don't and $10 5 and 9. So I'll go between those and see how it goes, but and then basically just turn my bets on and off, and grind away. I don't have a lot of money to play with, so, and I want to. That was the other thing. I always talk about how I can never stop myself when I win. As I win really quickly, but I want to keep playing. Well, if I play this way, then I can play for a long time, because I'm just doing $15 hits, or or $14 hits, or the whole idea is you're kind of turning things on and off, and then letting that don't pass ride out after you've already won your money. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll see. I guess one of the plans or goals is, can I make money Sunday tonight, so I can play with more money tomorrow at the Horseshoe, because Now that's the other question, is the Horseshoe going to have a roll to win table? I would doubt it, because they're a Caesars property. And if I'm correct, I think all the Caesars properties in Vegas got rid of the roll to win. And so they probably, as a standard, just don't do roll to wins. Now, I was kind of hopeful that maybe they could bring the solo craps. Maybe they can bring the, the solo bubble craps out. And that would be something that's different and new, and it doesn't exist in Lake Charles. So if that works, then that would give me the opportunity to, A, play at a low limit on an electronic table, and then B, be at the solo bubble craps, in which case you control the clock. And I guess the other question is how quickly are the cocktail waitresses going around? So we'll just have to check and see, but looking forward to finding out all the little tricks and sneaky little spots and places to go. I brought several cigars, so I'm hoping to be one of the first, or definitely part of the first group of cigar smokers in the casino. And we'll see if I can get on the very first table or not. I would definitely will get a chip. So it's nice to get a new chip from a new casino, especially when it's so close to home. But yeah, so that's kind of the strategy that I'm going to go with. Hopefully I can have fun tonight and play my little grinding strategy. And it's going back to my football plays. I guess this would be one of those, I'm just looking for, a 4-yard run. I'm just looking to get 4 yards. If I can get 4 yards on every play, then I'm gonna get that first down. And so that's all I'm really trying to do, is just win a little for each time I play. And then if I can do that for an hour or two, then okay, then that's pretty good. So, but we'll see how it goes. But I definitely need to have patience. I definitely need to have my discipline in order not to overextend my betting. Play within your bankroll. My bankroll is really small, and so I need to make sure that my betting style is small and fits with my budget and my bankroll. So, but we'll see how it goes. Let's see. I guess the other exciting thing is they did advertise that they're going to have 2,000 or free gifts for the first 2,000 people. And so my question is on a Monday at noon after the ribbon cutting, how many people are really going to be there? It's Lake Charles. Lake Charles is not a big city. It's a Monday. I don't see a lot of people taking off for this, but I have no friggin' clue, how many people are going to be there. Obviously the press are going to be there. It's going to, it's a big marketing thing. Will any celebrities be here? I don't know. What kind of Louisiana celebrities are out here, or Lake Charles for that matter. So we'll see. Maybe I'll find something out that's interesting. We'll just kind of have to wait and see what that looks like. Then also they're celebrating at 9 o'clock at night. They're going to have fireworks. So fireworks should be cool, but I don't know where you're going to be able to watch them from, because odds are the casino does not have windows or skylights. So I wonder where you're going to have to go. I guess maybe I'll try to park on the top of the garage and watch it from the roof of the garage. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll go get a 6-pack or something and put it in the car and be able to watch the fireworks. But then again, the other thing is fireworks don't last that long. So, obviously, we're talking about maybe 5-10 minutes worth of fireworks. 4th of July doesn't last more than a half hour. So I don't think that's going to happen. So anyway, with that all being said, thanks everybody for continuing to listen. It's been a crazy year, and we're almost through with it. So thanks for hanging out, and we will catch you on the flip side when we're heading back home. All right, take care out there. Adios. Well, good morning, crap shooters. I am back on the road, heading home. Actually heading to work. I only did a half a day today, so I could get up in the morning and go home, and then get to work right after lunch. So anyway, had a good trip. I wouldn't call it a successful trip, but I'd definitely call it a good trip. The brand new Horseshoe Casino is gorgeous. They definitely raised the bar here in Lake Charles. Considering they used to be the Isle of Capri, and the Isle of Capri was kind of a dirty, shitty little place, like most boats are. They're just not well taken care of, and they're all old, and they're small. They've got a really small footprint, and they're multiple stories. You know, you've got a first floor, second floor, third floor kind of scenario going on in all those boats. But here we're on no longer a boat. We're on land, and it's a 60,000 square foot casino. For comparison's sake, I tried to look up Golden Nugget, but it didn't really have any good information on the square footage. But LeBear's said they were close to about 70,000, so 70,000 square feet. So 60,000 is in the realm of of what's around, and I would definitely say it's. All three are about the same size. Now, Coshada, which is a little, more of a 35, 40-minute drive away, that's got a much bigger floor plate. But for these three, all next to each other, they're all comparable. But this one's the nicest one of them all. I mean, I would definitely kind of rate them as A, B, C, where the C property now is LeBear's, the B property is Golden Nugget, and the Horseshoe is the A property. Now, that is aesthetics only. That doesn't have anything to do with service or craps play or any of that yet. It was too soon to be able to make a judgment call on that for Horseshoe. They were crazy. The grand opening was crazy. Traffic was insane. The lines of people were insane. People were generally in good moods, but once they got in, you could hear them bitching about, how they had to wait in line, how they had to wait in traffic and all that. But while they were in line, they seemed to be in good spirits. But I don't know, I guess that's just, everybody likes to complain nowadays, so people are complaining. But yeah, unfortunately, I did not get in the correct line for the free gift. I missed out on that, which I'm a little upset about, but it was such a crazy headache of experience. I mean, the thing is everybody that I asked pointed me into a different direction of where to go to get it. I did not go through the front entrance. I parked in the garage and was coming in through the back entrance. And I would have thought they were passing things out there, but they weren't. They were passing things out in another location, and it was closer to the front entrance. And so basically, if you were coming in the front entrance, then you got right into the line for the free gift. And so for me coming from the back, it was almost impossible. It was impossible for me to get into that line because I'd have to cut in front of other people, and that just wasn't going to happen. But oh well, I still was able to be the fourth shooter on the brand new craps tables. The craps tables were gorgeous. Brand new tables, brand new felt, everything that I was thinking. A couple interesting things. There were 3 craps tables. The craps tables are 16 feet, so they are bigger than the 12 footers at Golden Nugget and the 14 footers at Lake Charles, or at LeBear's. The Coshada has 16 foot tables, and but I think they're also a little wider. But anyway, these are definitely longer tables than the other two facilities in Lake Charles, so that was noticeable. And what was happening is people from the end who were shooting dice ended up shooting the dice off the table a lot, and it's just because the table's brand new and it's a little bouncy. It actually, I thought it was a nice table. I thought everything was great. I recognized a couple of the dealers from the old Isle of Capri, and then obviously they took a few dealers from LeBare's and from Gold Nugget to fill in the spots. Talked to one of the dealers who actually has opened, he said, more than a dozen casinos, worked for one of the opening companies, and he's happy to be here, and he's going to stay here until his grandkids go to college. So he was a good guy to talk to, and it was just kind of fun to listen to him. But yeah, so the craps tables are nice and new. They've got more of a maroon felt. Two of them are maroon felt, and then the third one, which is on a separate side. The two are back to back, and then there's a third one in a different gaming pit, but they're all next to each other. That one's green, and so they had two of them at $15, and then another one was at $25. As the night rolled on, they opened at noon with the ribbon cutting and everything, and then after that, towards about 4 or 5 o'clock, I had about had my fill with the crowd. It just kept getting more and more crowded, and less and less enjoyable. Because it was getting to be where there was 7 on a side for the craps table, since they were a little larger, but you were still shoulder to shoulder with people. So yeah, it just got more and more crowded, and so I knew that was just going to happen all day and all night. But they did bump the other two tables up to $25 minimums. So then they basically just had that one $15. Now whether that bumped up later or not, I'm not sure. But when I went back this morning to cash my chips, because the cashier line, which is called player services, that was insane. Basically everybody was trying to get money and do all their things, so it was almost impossible to get in line to cash in your chips. So I decided to wait until the next day, and sure enough, there was only 5 people in line, but it still took about 15-20 minutes. But yeah, no, it was all the growing pains of a new casino. Just like when you're opening a new restaurant or any sort of new facility, you just had too many people, and all the employees barely knew what they were doing, and nobody knew where anything was. I asked directions for a couple of different things, and I was told one direction from one person, and then another direction for another person. I ended up going back to one of the ladies who pointed me in the wrong direction and told her, no, this is where the restrooms are. And so she was thankful, but I think that's just the way it is. It looked like they opened up too soon. There was still a lot of construction to be done. There were still a lot of things that weren't in place. But I think from what I heard is they really wanted to open up on 12/12 at 12 p.m. Which, okay, I like all that. That's kind of fun, but yeah, they still, there's still a lot of construction things going on. They don't have, all the restaurants aren't there, obviously. They had the Bruise Brothers, hamburger place, and they had tables in there, but the place wasn't full of tables. It was almost like they had maybe 50% seating capacity. They could have added more tables, but they didn't. The bar was full, but I wasn't going to try any food there because the kitchen just opened, and anytime you go to a new restaurant when they're opening, it's usually not the greatest thing right at the beginning, so I wasn't going to worry about it. I guess back to the craps tables. We talked about the minimums, we talked about the size, talked about the dealers. There are a few differences. I didn't notice the max. It was probably a $5,000 max, but I didn't notice the max because I was on the end and couldn't really see the electronic sign that had the minimums on there. The one thing I did notice, what everybody was talking about, is it's 100 times odds. So that is a huge difference from the 20 times odds that's at the rest of the casinos in Lake Charles. And the only thing I could think of was the Cromwell in Vegas on the Strip. That used to be, if it's not still, it used to be 100 times odds, and that was kind of the only thing on the Strip that was there, is you could make a $5 bet and then do 100 times odds. So then you could, you could put 500 behind your $5 bet. So anyway, they were talking about that a lot. Not that anybody did it. I didn't see anybody really put more than a couple $100 behind a $25 bet. So that's only 10 times odds. So we'll see if that ever comes into play. But that's something they were talking about. And then they had the bonus, but it is I guess the Caesars version of the bonus. It's not the all tall small. It is the boom or bust with little ones and big ones. So obviously there's some sort of trademark there, and they're not calling it the all tall small. So boom or bust, little ones, big ones, same play. The payout is the Caesars payout, so it's less. It's 30 to 1 and 150 to 1. So instead of 34 to 1 and 175 to 1. So whatever, it is what it is. When I was playing, I was actually the fourth shooter. I didn't necessarily want to be the first shooter, but I definitely got on the table early enough where I was the fourth shooter, and didn't do well. There's nothing to be said there. I think I did 5 and out, and then it took a long time for the dice to get back around to me, and my table filled in, and I got pushed to the side where I was basically next to the dealer. Where the don't come box is, that whole don't corner. I was shoved in the corner, so there was no way I was going to be able to roll again because the angle was wrong. So I just shot that one time, and that was it. But it's funny. It was really pretty much the epitome of all the bad things that happen at a craps table were happening at a craps table with too many people. It was like a Friday night or a Saturday night, but it was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Monday. The place was packed, and people were buying in the middle of rolls. There was just no etiquette going on whatsoever. There wasn't any good energy. So yeah, it is what it is. So I mean, that's a grand opening, right? You expect too many people there. I would say there was at least 5,000 people. I don't know if I'll ever get a head count, but it was there were a lot of people. It took me a long time to get from the highway to the into the parking garage, but this morning it wasn't a big deal at all. So technically, I think it's about 5 miles between the Horseshoe and Golden Nugget, and basically Golden Nugget and LaBerge are next door. So I think it's basically only 5 minutes or 5 miles away. So it was about a 10-minute drive. And this morning, obviously, there was nothing. There was no traffic and plenty of parking and all that kind of stuff. They only had one table working this morning. It was $15, and they only had about 4 or 5 people at it. So, but they had all the corporate people that were there, and they were all trying to put things in order, trying to put things back together, I guess, from yesterday. But the carpet was trashed, and I say trashed. It's just what new carpet does. New carpet does something that they call pilling, and it's like the fibers from the top of the carpet kind of get rolled into balls, and so because there were so many people walking on it, there was a ton of that carpet stuff left over. So they hadn't vacuumed the carpet yet since yesterday. So I'm sure they'll probably get to it later this week. But yeah, no, everything. The aesthetics were really, really nice. The casino's done in like beige and tans, and then they've got wood, which is more like a walnut color wood. I was trying to think of what it reminds me of, and you know, it's very similar, I think, to maybe how the Wynn and the Venetian and Palazzo, how those guys are kind of high ceilings, but then well lit. Not the red, obviously, that those places have, but all in beiges and browns and tans. So it's very comfortable. I liked it a lot. But the TV scenario was minimal. You know, it's not as nice as L'Auberge and Golden Nugget. So, you know, if you want to watch stuff while you're playing, you know, the TVs are off in a distance, and they're, you know, I would say smaller size than what they could have been. They could have made those things bigger. They were on stands in the middle of the pits, and there was four TVs to a stand, you know, so covering all four sides. But they weren't, you know, big, huge TVs, and they didn't look even like they were, you know, top of the line TVs. So, you know, but they're focused on the gaming floor, and I'm sure, you know, Caesars has a standard that they're following. Or maybe this is a Horseshoe standard that they're following. It'll be interesting to hear about the Bally's turnover. I know Bally's is turning over to Horseshoe in Vegas, so I'm wondering if it'll be the same aesthetic and the same look. I would assume so. So it'll probably be those tans and browns, so that'll be interesting to hear about. Not sure what else about the craps table to really talk about, other than they were nice and they were new and they were 16 footers. You know, the rest of the casino, they had a lot of slot machines, and they were all the brand new ones. Now, I did recognize that, you know, some of the machines from the Harrah's when we were in New Orleans. I recognized a few of the animated videos that are on those things. I recognized several of them from being in New Orleans when we went to visit. So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, they're all brand new and real nice, and so if you're a slot player, I'm sure it's a place to go for a while. Let's see, let's flip over to video poker. It does not look like they've got a video poker area. I did not see it at all. I walked around looking for it, but that doesn't mean that they don't have video poker. They do have video poker. All their video poker is on their bars, and so inside the Brews Brothers, restaurant, at their bar, they had video poker games. At the Four Suits, basically cocktail bar, they had video poker machines in the bar top. I think those are the only two locations where I saw bar tops or bars available, and then with the video poker. The high limit room does have a bar in it, but it's a small bar, and I didn't see any video poker in there. Let's see. So yeah, so video poker exists, but it's just in a bar top situation. The table games were mostly $25. They did have some $50 games. I think when you saw a $15 limit, it was a game where you had to put multiple bets down in order to play. I did notice that their $25 blackjack was 6 to 5. And then when you went up to $50 or $100 in the high limit room, it was 3 to 2. So, or 2 to 3. I'm not sure if I'm getting that forwards or backwards, but y'all know what I'm saying. So better odds on the higher limits. So yeah, so you got your option there, but obviously you need to spend more money to get the better edge, which I think everybody knows. So there's that. Then they did have an Asian noodle house or noodle place. They called it, I think it was either 7 or 77 Noodle House. And it looked like a sushi bar with ramen and all that kind of stuff. And then it was right next door to the high limit room. Inside the high limit room, they did have a couple of baccarat tables that were going for 100. And then I think they only had about 7 tables in their high limit room. So it's a very small high limit area. So they had blackjack at $100 a hand, and then I think basically all the table games were $100 a hand. And then let's see, what else? Oh, they have their World Series of Poker area, which that had 10 tables. So compared to Golden Nugget has I think 7 tables in their poker area, and LeBare's doesn't have a poker area. And I know Kashada does, and I can't remember the number of tables that were over there, but 10 is the number that is at the World Series of Poker. Now they had I think 5 tables working yesterday at 2 p.m. 2 in the afternoon. So there's that. I'm sure that'll grow as time goes on. Let's see. And then, yeah, as far as location of everything, when you're coming in the front entry, if you go to the right, that's exactly where the World Series of Poker area is. If you go to the left as you're walking in the front, that's where the Four Suites bar is. And so you just walk straight in from the front entrance, and you've got all your table games, and then to the left and the right are the slot machines. And then so you go down the table games, and then once you get to a break area, there's one craps table, and then the next table game area starts, and then that's where the 2 other craps tables are. So it's kind of at an intersection, which means that there was a lot of traffic. But I think they're pulled away enough. I think it's wide enough corridors there where you're really not going to have too much of an interference of traffic walking by. I think you're going to have a bunch of onlookers, but it's just a different scenario. I think it's going to take more time for me to figure out if I like playing there or not. It looks like it could be a morning spot, but hell, it just opened, so I mean, it's hard to tell what kind of crowd they have. So we'll be back. I'll be back, hopefully with shotgun, but we'll be back right around Christmas. So we're getting in there that Friday and Saturday before Christmas. So we'll obviously take another look and see what they're all about after they've been in the business for a couple of weeks. So that was kind of the new casino, the grand opening. I did see the fireworks from across the way. I was back over at the Golden Nugget and was actually watching football. I've got to say, I forgot to mention this on the way here, but the Golden Nugget opened up their sports bar, the DraftKings Sportsbook, and it is very, very impressive. It is probably the best quality sports bar I've ever been to. The lighting is perfect. It's completely dark. They have more screens than I even dared to count. Basically, they took out the buffet that used to be in the Golden Nugget and just basically lined up all the walls with big screen TVs, and not big screen TVs like the like when you're going to Caesars or any sports book like the Wynn or the Venetian. you know, and you got that wall of TVs where they can basically cut it into however many pieces and play with all these different sports. That's exactly what they had going on all around, you know, the walls. And then they even had a double ring around the bar that was there. They had an inside TV that you were watching and then outside. But it wasn't just a TV. It was the whole LED kind of stuff you see, like I just said. You know, this stuff you see at football stadiums and big time Vegas stuff. Now, the bartender that I was talking to said they spent $18 million. He said just on the TVs. Now, I could see $18 million maybe on the whole space, but he said they were all 7,000K. That they couldn't do 8,000K because the 8,000K generated too much heat, which I found that very interesting and probably practical, because you know all that electronic stuff does put out a lot of heat, and so I wonder if shaving off 1K did save them on the heat that was getting produced. So very interesting. But oh my God, what a comfortable place! And then the bar inside the sports book had video poker, had video machines, and so when you were playing the video machines, you were able to get free drinks. So I basically was milking my $100, you know, buy-in at video poker, and was able to drink for free during all of Monday Night Football. And then they also have food, you know. Realistically, what they were trying to do, I think, was, you know, beat out the sports book that was over at LeBear's that opened up at the beginning of the season this year. You know, they opened up in September, right before the NFL started. You know, these guys just opened up, I want to say, maybe 6 weeks ago. I remember talking about it, but I hadn't been back since. So, you know, I think my last trip out here was in September, so they opened up, I think, in October. But wow, what an amazing space. And then they also have, just like the sports book over at LeBear's, you know, they've got 3 blackjack tables, but they also have a craps table, a smaller craps table. Well, over here at the Golden Nugget in their DraftKings sports book, they just had 3 blackjack tables. They didn't have a craps table, but they had so much more space. Incredible seating. I mean, it was the seating like you would see in Vegas, where you could reserve the lounge stuff. You know, they got bottle service and all that kind of stuff, but they've got wings, they got oysters, they got shrimp, they got pizza, they got burgers, they got sandwiches. They got everything. So I don't think I can say, I mean, it's like if you went to a really, really nice Buffalo Wild Wings, but it was inside of a casino, and then they spent, you know, almost $20 million on it. That's what this was. It was so impressive. I mean, I'm gonna watch every sports game that I can when I'm there. So, and then they had the sound on too, of course, and it was great. And then really good service. The bartenders were nice. They were busy, but they were attentive. They basically let you know that they saw you and they'd be with you as soon as they could. So, but they were good. The service, that's the next thing that's going to make or break Lake Charles and all these casinos. It's the service. You know, how well does the cashier work? How well does, you know, are the cocktail servers? You know, how it's the service part of everything now. The aesthetics are great. You know, the bar has been risen. Everything looks new. You know, other than, well, now LeBear's is the oldest casino out there, so they're the ones that have to start thinking about upgrades. But they make changes all the time, so it shouldn't be too hard for them to keep up with the Joneses. But it's going to be interesting to see how more competition improves the experience. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Is, you know, one more casino that's nicer than the rest is going to make everybody else, you know, make everybody else do a little bit better, be a little bit better. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm very excited about Lake Charles. Now that I've got 3 casinos to choose from, you know, that was my little triangle in Vegas. You know, we would do Bellagio, Cosmo, and Planet Hollywood, and just go between those three. You know, now granted you could walk between those three, and now I can only walk between two, but you know, a 10-minute drive is nothing either. Well, the other thing is it's all free parking. So free parking and free drinks when you're playing. That's what Lake Charles has to offer, and a decent amount of craps tables. You know, we still have 7 craps tables over at Le Bears. We've got 6 craps tables over at Golden Nugget, and now we've got 3 craps tables at the Horseshoe. Oh, I did forget to mention they do have bubble craps. So they did open up a bubble craps machine, and it was $15 minimum. No. Yes, that was what. Yeah, it's $15 minimum. So the other ones are still, you know, the other bubble craps machine over at Le Bears is still $5, and then the 2 roll to win tables over at Le Bears are still $5 as well. So you know, if you're looking for those low limits, it's still going to be on the electronic tables, but not the Horseshoe. The Horseshoe is going to be $15, and I think that's just a standard of, yeah, that's your play over there. So anyway, you know, the days of $5 craps is over. Oh, I did go by Gold Nugget this morning to cash my tickets out and use some free play, and they did have one of their tables was $10, and then another one was $15. So you can still get $10. In Lake Charles, the machine that was in, or excuse me, the craps table that was in the sports book at Le Bears, that was still $10, and that was $10 all the way into the evening. But as soon as people left, and that was the thing, everybody was over at the Horseshoe, so things died down at the other casinos. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to go back over to the Golden Nugget and Le Bears. You know, I was sick of the crowd. The crowd was just a little unruly, and you know, I kind of just got fed up with it after a while. I got there at the beginning. I got there when it was empty, and then I watched it fill up. But then after it filled up, I think I had my fill, and I decided to leave. So I was there, you know, until about 5 o'clock. So 5 hours, that's plenty of time. But you know, and was on the table for probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours. I was there from, you know, basically 12:15, 12:30 until about 2 o'clock. And then walked around and saw everything else that was there. So, but anyway, but yeah, as far as gambling and my craps play, yeah, it wasn't a good week. It wasn't a good weekend. It wasn't a good trip. But you don't need to hear about that. Just know that I didn't do good, and I'll be back and try to make it up at the end of the year. We're going back probably in 2 more weeks, so we'll have something more for you on that. And like I said, hopefully I'll be able to talk shotgun into coming out and have a little more for you then. So we do appreciate you listening to us, and thanks for giving us comments on social media, and we'll try to do another practice session where we're answering some Q&A from the social media, and put that in the mix of our casino trips. So anyway, again, thanks so much for listening. Take care out there. Adios. The Red Eye Gamblers, thank you for your time, and hope you got a little something out of this week's podcast.
Here's to rolling 7s on the come out, and may your 6s and 8s always be hard. Cheers.